Hello, everyone. A multitude of significant events have unfolded across the globe recently, shifting geopolitical landscapes and economic balances. Today, we delve into some of these critical developments and explore their potential ramifications. Stay with us as we navigate through complex international relations and economic dependencies that shape our world. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Your support is crucial for our growth and helps us bring you more insightful content like this. Also, let us know in the comments where you are tuning in from. We love hearing from our diverse audience around the world. Remember, we will be drawing conclusions from today's discussion at the end of the video, so stick around for the full analysis. What if the United States lost the very essence, the vital fluid that sustains its economic vitality? Envision a scenario where crucial partners, indispensable allies, simply evaporated, leaving America exposed and unsteady. Picture a global stage where the nations America leans on for trade, security, and technological advancement suddenly cease to exist or collaborate. How would the nation cope with its intricate web of dependencies abruptly severed? Which countries are so fundamentally intertwined with American prosperity and security that their absence could trigger a domino effect, causing the entire structure to potentially collapse? The relationships range from expansive trade agreements fueling consumer markets to deep-seated defense alliances safeguarding national interests. These connections, often operating behind the scenes, form an invisible, yet undeniably essential framework supporting America's global standing. Without these key players, the United States would face an immense struggle to preserve its influence, ensure its safety, and maintain the economic well-being its citizens rely upon. Are we, as a nation, truly cognizant of these vulnerabilities? Are we prepared for a reality where these foundational alliances might falter or disappear altogether? Let's embark on an exploration of the 10 nations whose hypothetical collapse or withdrawal from partnership could send seismic shockwaves across the United States, fundamentally altering its economic landscape and geopolitical position. This exploration isn't mere speculation. It's a crucial examination of the delicate balance that underpins American power and prosperity in an increasingly interconnected world. The stability of these relationships is paramount, and understanding the potential consequences of their disruption is more critical now than ever before. Imagine this. What if, starting tomorrow, all commercial exchange with a nation responsible for producing nearly everything found in the average American household abruptly halted? Consider the electronics you use daily, the clothes you wear, the furniture in your home. A significant portion originates from one manufacturing behemoth. This scenario, while seemingly far-fetched, highlights the immense reliance the U.S. places on China, the planet's second-largest economy. If this economic titan were to decide to sever ties with the United States, the repercussions would be immediate and severe. China commands a colossal share of global manufacturing, accounting for over 28% of all goods produced worldwide. This dominance spans across countless sectors, from sophisticated smartphones and complex electronics to everyday apparel and household items. The sheer volume of trade underscores this dependency. The United States imports a staggering sum, often exceeding $450 billion worth of goods from China annually. This figure represents a vast river of products flowing into American ports, stocking shelves, and supplying industries across the nation. Without this constant influx, the American consumer landscape would transform dramatically. Shoppers would encounter rapidly escalating prices as businesses scramble to find alternative, often more expensive sources. Store shelves, particularly for electronics and consumer goods, could become sparsely populated, leading to widespread shortages. The impact wouldn't be limited to consumers. Numerous American industries, deeply integrated with Chinese supply chains, would face devastating disruptions. Manufacturing processes would stall, production costs would soar, and the ripple effects would permeate through the entire economy, potentially leading to job losses and business closures. You would genuinely be astonished at the depth of this economic entanglement, the extent to which American daily life and industrial operations have become interwoven with Chinese manufacturing might. China's role extends beyond being a mere factory to the world. It is a central actor in the global economic theater, wielding significant influence through its control over essential resources. Notably, China dominates the market for rare earth minerals, elements indispensable for modern technology, including smartphones, electric vehicles, and advanced defense systems. A disruption in this supply chain would trigger a collapse in sectors heavily reliant on these materials, such as electronics manufacturing and the burgeoning renewable energy industry, potentially setting back technological progress significantly. Envision the potential paralysis. America could rapidly grind to an economic standstill. Without China's vast manufacturing capacity and control over critical resources, the United States would confront an economic crisis of a magnitude rarely seen, challenging its stability and prosperity on an unprecedented level. The fragility exposed by such a hypothetical rupture underscores the complex and often precarious nature of modern global economic relationships. Please make sure to watch this video until the very end, as we will be summarizing the key takeaways and drawing important conclusions about these global dependencies. Hard to conceive, isn't it? Yet this hypothetical situation paints a stark picture of what could transpire if Canada, America's northern neighbor, were plunged into significant internal turmoil or economic collapse. Canada holds the position of the foremost supplier of both oil and natural gas to the United States, a fact often overlooked despite its profound implications for American energy security. This relationship is not trivial. Canada furnishes over 60% of America's crude oil imports, a figure that highlights an extraordinary level of energy dependence. Think about the vast network of pipelines and transportation systems dedicated to moving these energy resources across the border daily. But let's consider the critical aspect. Without this consistent and voluminous stream of energy flowing south, the consequences for the U.S. would be immediate and far-reaching. American industries, from manufacturing plants requiring vast amounts of power to petrochemical facilities dependent on natural gas feedstocks, would face severe operational challenges. Households across the nation, reliant on Canadian energy for heating, electricity, and transportation fuel, would confront sharply escalating costs. Imagine gas prices soaring at the pump, utility bills becoming prohibitively expensive, and the overall cost of living rising significantly. You would likely be taken aback by the extent of America's vulnerability concerning energy reliance, particularly on a single neighboring source. The stability of the U.S. energy market is deeply tethered to the stability of Canada's energy production and export capacity. However, the U.S.-Canada connection transcends just oil and gas. Canada stands as a pivotal trading partner across a multitude of sectors vital to the American economy. Agriculture sees significant cross-border exchange, with Canadian products stocking American grocery stores and vice versa. The automotive industry features deeply integrated supply chains, where parts and vehicles frequently cross the border multiple times during the manufacturing process. Furthermore, the tech industries in both nations collaborate extensively, sharing innovation and talent. The United States and Canada share much more than the longest undefended border in the world. They share deeply interwoven supply chains that have evolved over decades of close economic partnership. These intricate networks mean that an economic collapse in Canada wouldn't simply be a distant problem. It would immediately send powerful shockwaves reverberating through every sector and region of the American economy. The disruption would cascade through manufacturing, logistics, retail, and finance, impacting jobs, investments, and consumer confidence across the United States, illustrating the profound interconnectedness and mutual dependency that defines this crucial North American relationship. Let's paint another scenario. What if the United States suddenly found itself cut off from one of its most significant trading allies, a nation just south of its border that provides a vast array of goods, from sophisticated electronics assembled in sprawling factories to fresh agricultural produce essential for American tables? You would be genuinely surprised to discover that this precise situation could unfold if Mexico, a cornerstone of North American trade, experienced severe instability, or if its relationship with the U.S. were fundamentally broken. Consider the scale. Mexico ranks as the United States' third-largest trading partner. The volume of goods exchanged between the two nations annually surpasses an immense $600 billion. This figure is larger than the trade the U.S. conducts with many other countries combined, emphasizing the sheer magnitude of this economic linkage. This trade encompasses a wide spectrum of products, Automobiles and auto parts flow freely across the border, reflecting a highly integrated automotive manufacturing sector spanning both countries. Electronics, often assembled in Mexican factories utilizing components from global supply chains, are imported in vast quantities to meet American consumer demand. Mexico is also a key part of the intricate supply chain infrastructure that keeps numerous U.S. industries operational and competitive. Without access to Mexican manufacturing and assembly, American production costs in sectors like automotive and electronics would inevitably surge. This would translate into higher prices for consumers and potentially hinder the competitiveness of American businesses on the global stage. American consumers, accustomed to the availability and affordability of Mexican goods, would undoubtedly feel the pinch in their wallets. But the reliance goes deeper. Wait, the implications extend far beyond finished goods. Mexico plays an indispensable role as the largest supplier of agricultural products to the United States. This steady stream includes fruits, vegetables, and other foodstuffs that are fundamental components of the everyday American diet. Imagine strolling into your neighborhood supermarket only to find the produce aisles conspicuously empty or the prices drastically higher. How would American households manage such a disruption to their basic food supply? This scenario underscores the vital importance of the agricultural trade relationship. And here's the crucial element. Mexico is fundamental for maintaining access to affordable labor, particularly for manufacturing and agricultural sectors. Many American industries depend on the availability of inexpensive and skilled labor situated just across the border. A disruption would mean that jobs within these American industries could vanish almost overnight, as companies struggle to find alternative, cost-effective labor sources. This reliance is particularly evident in sectors like automotive manufacturing, where Mexican factories are integral to complex assembly lines. Furthermore, the impact on national security cannot be understated. The U.S. and Mexico collaborate closely on critical intelligence sharing and border security initiatives. A breakdown in this relationship could lead to a surge in cross-border crime, increased smuggling activities, and significant disruptions in the ongoing efforts to combat powerful drug cartels. The stability and security of the U.S. southern border are intrinsically linked to a cooperative relationship with Mexico. Therefore, if Mexico were to face collapse or sever its trade and security ties, the United States would be confronted with a monumental crisis, encompassing economic turmoil, supply chain chaos, and severe national security challenges. This potential vulnerability highlights a connection that is about far more than just commerce. It's about survival and stability. Consider a reality where the devices central to your daily life, your smartphone, your laptop, perhaps even the advanced systems in your car, cease to function properly. What if the essential components powering nearly every piece of modern technology suddenly became inaccessible? While this might sound like science fiction, you would be astonished to realize this is the potential consequence if Japan, the world's third largest economy, were to sever its economic and technological ties with the United States. Japan has long stood as a formidable powerhouse in technology and innovation. It is globally recognized for producing cutting-edge electronics and sophisticated components that are integral to the functionality of countless devices used in the U.S. and around the world. The trade relationship reflects this technological prowess. A staggering $200 billion worth of goods are exchanged annually between these two economic giants. A significant portion of this trade involves critical components indispensable for the U.S. electronics, automotive, and consumer technology industries. Japan holds a dominant position in the production of specialized electronic parts, high-precision machinery, and advanced materials. Without access to these Japanese components, U.S. technological innovation could be severely hampered. Imagine American tech companies unable to source the parts needed for their next generation of products, leading to production delays, increased costs, and a loss of competitive edge in the global market. The smooth functioning of the U.S. tech sector is deeply reliant on the stability and continuity of its supply chain links with Japan. For example, Japan is a global frontrunner in semiconductor manufacturing technology and equipment. While Taiwan leads in overall chip production, Japanese companies supply crucial materials and machinery needed for the semiconductor fabrication process globally, including to U.S. chipmakers. A disruption in this intricate supply chain would cripple U.S. efforts to boost domestic semiconductor production and would impact everything from consumer electronics to vital defense systems that rely on these advanced chips. The potential impact extends significantly into the automotive sector as well. Japan is home to some of the world's largest and most innovative automakers, including global giants like Toyota, Honda, and Nissan. While these companies have significant manufacturing operations within the U.S., they still rely heavily on components and technological innovations sourced from Japan. A collapse in the U.S.-Japan partnership would cause major disruptions in the American auto industry, potentially leading to factory slowdowns, job losses, and higher vehicle prices for American consumers due to supply chain breaks and increased costs for essential parts. Furthermore, and here's where the strategic implications become even more profound, Japan plays a pivotal role in the United States' defense strategy within the critical Indo-Pacific region. The U.S. and Japan maintain a robust military alliance, a cornerstone of regional security architecture. This partnership involves extensive intelligence sharing, joint military exercises, and the hosting of significant U.S. military bases on Japanese soil. These bases are crucial for projecting American power and ensuring the security of vital sea lanes in the region. This alliance serves as a significant deterrent against potential threats, particularly from expanding powers like China. If Japan were to experience internal collapse or fundamentally alter its foreign policy, turning away from its alliance with the U.S., the strategic equilibrium in the Indo-Pacific would be drastically altered. The security framework that has maintained relative peace and stability for decades would be weakened, potentially emboldening regional adversaries and increasing the risk of conflict. The U.S. would lose not just a vital trading partner and source of technology, but also a key strategic ally in maintaining the global balance of power. The consequences for America's position on the world stage would be immense, impacting its economic health, technological leadership, and national security. It's a relationship whose stability is far more critical than often perceived. Let's shift our focus to Europe. What would occur if one of the most inventive and economically robust nations on the continent, a country often considered the engine of European industry, abruptly ceased its commercial interactions with the United States? You would likely be surprised to grasp the sheer extent of America's reliance on Germany, widely regarded as the epicenter of European manufacturing prowess and technological innovation. Germany stands tall as the fourth largest economy globally, and its industrial base is deeply integrated into American supply chains across numerous critical sectors. From advanced machinery and automotive engineering to chemical production and pharmaceuticals, German industries supply essential goods and technologies that bolster American manufacturing and innovation. This interdependence is reflected in the substantial trade volume. Every year, the United States imports goods worth over $130 billion from Germany. This considerable flow includes high-precision industrial machinery, vital for American factories, luxury and performance automobiles favored by American consumers, and specialized chemical and pharmaceutical products essential for healthcare and various industrial processes. Without this steady supply, the impact on American industries would be nothing short of catastrophic. Manufacturing sectors reliant on German machinery would face slowdowns and increased costs. The automotive market would experience disruptions, and access to critical pharmaceutical ingredients could be jeopardized, potentially impacting public health. You might not fully appreciate how indispensable Germany is, particularly to the U.S. automotive sector. Renowned German automakers such as BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Volkswagen have a massive presence in the American market. While they operate assembly plants in the U.S., these facilities still depend heavily on parts, engineering expertise, and technological advancements originating from Germany. Furthermore, many cutting-edge technologies incorporated into American vehicles, including fuel-efficient engines, advanced driver assistance systems, and sophisticated safety features, are often developed and pioneered in Germany. A disruption in trade would leave American consumers facing higher car prices and potentially limited choices, while U.S. manufacturers linked to German supply chains would struggle to adapt and maintain technological parity. And here's an additional layer. Germany isn't merely an industrial giant. It's a global leader in crucial sectors like industrial machinery, chemicals, and pharmaceuticals. Its expertise in high-precision manufacturing makes German machinery sought after worldwide, including by American factories seeking efficiency and quality. The German chemical industry is one of the largest and most innovative globally, supplying essential inputs for countless American products. Similarly, its pharmaceutical sector is a major source of both finished drugs and active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, for the U.S. market. If Germany could no longer supply these high-tech components, or vital chemicals and pharmaceuticals, it would cripple American industries dependent on these imports. Aerospace, healthcare, agriculture, and manufacturing would all feel the severe strain. You would be astonished to discover the intricate dependencies linking U.S. agriculture, aerospace, and healthcare sectors to German products and innovations. But the implications intensify further when considering global security. Germany is not just an economic powerhouse. It is a crucial player in international security frameworks. As a key NATO member and the preeminent European nation, Germany occupies a central position in U.S. defense strategy within Europe. The presence of major U.S. military bases in Germany is vital for projecting American influence and responding to regional security challenges. The U.S. German partnership involves deep intelligence sharing and collaboration on counterterrorism and defense initiatives. The loss of Germany as a strategic ally would significantly destabilize NATO and profoundly shift the balance of power dynamics across Europe. The collective security architecture that has underpinned European stability for decades would be severely weakened. If the U.S. were to lose Germany as a partner, the economic fallout would be devastating, impacting industries from automotive to pharmaceuticals. Simultaneously, America's influence on the global stage would diminish considerably, potentially leading to increased instability in Europe and beyond. This is a transatlantic relationship whose strength is fundamental to both economic prosperity and global security, a connection that no one should underestimate or take for granted. Envision waking up one morning to discover that the United States could no longer tap into one of the planet's most significant sources of oil, a kingdom whose production decisions ripple through global energy markets. What would be the immediate effect on prices at the gas pump? How would American industries, thirsty for energy, adjust to such a sudden and drastic supply shock? You would be genuinely shocked to understand the depth of U.S. reliance on Saudi Arabia, not just for its vast oil reserves, but also for its influential role in shaping global energy policy. Saudi Arabia stands as the world's largest oil exporter, possessing colossal reserves and the capacity to significantly influence global supply and prices. The United States imports millions of barrels of oil from the kingdom each year, a supply stream that helps maintain stability in the U.S. energy market. This consistent flow fuels everything from transportation networks reliant on gasoline and diesel to manufacturing processes demanding vast amounts of energy. This massive supply helps keep the U.S. energy market relatively stable and predictable. Without Saudi oil, American consumers would likely face immediate and sharp increases in fuel costs, impacting household budgets and transportation expenses. Industries heavily dependent on petroleum products would see their operating costs soar, potentially leading to inflation across the economy. But here's the critical point. The U.S. doesn't merely depend on the physical barrels of Saudi oil. It relies heavily on Saudi Arabia's considerable influence within OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. Saudi Arabia often acts as the de facto leader of OPEC, playing a key role in coordinating production levels among member states. These decisions directly impact global oil prices and market stability. If Saudi Arabia were to sever ties with the U.S. or use its influence within OPEC counter to American interests, the repercussions could be severe. The global oil market could descend into chaos, with unpredictable price swings and potential supply shortages, destabilizing not only the U.S. economy, but the global economy as well. Yet the relationship isn't solely defined by petroleum. Saudi Arabia is also a significant player in global security dynamics, particularly in the volatile Middle East. The United States and Saudi Arabia engage in substantial intelligence sharing, collaborate on counter-terrorism initiatives, and maintain a strategic military presence in the region aimed at ensuring stability and deterring potential aggressors. This security partnership, though complex and sometimes fraught, is considered essential for protecting American interests in a strategically vital part of the world. A breakdown in this security relationship could place American interests at significant risk in a region critical to global energy supplies and geopolitical stability. Tensions could escalate rapidly, and the potential for conflict could increase if the U.S. lost Saudi Arabia as a key regional security partner. And consider this intriguing fact that might surprise you. Saudi Arabia is not just resting on its oil laurels. The kingdom is actively investing hundreds of billions of dollars into diversifying its economy away from oil dependency through ambitious projects under its Vision 2030 plan. Much of this diversification involves partnerships with U.S. technology and defense companies. From multi-billion-dollar arms deals to collaborations on advanced technology and infrastructure projects, the U.S. has a significant stake in some of Saudi Arabia's most substantial development initiatives. Imagine the consequences if Saudi Arabia halted its support for the U.S. dollar as the primary currency for oil transactions, the petrodollar system, or decided to cut off its oil exports entirely. Energy prices in the U.S. would skyrocket. American industries reliant on stable energy costs would suffer immense damage, and global security arrangements could be thrown into jeopardy. This partnership extends far beyond oil. It's a complex web of economic interdependence and strategic alignment essential for maintaining balance in both global energy markets and international security. Let's consider another technological linchpin. Think about virtually everything electronic in your home that relies on sophisticated, cutting-edge technology. Your smartphone, laptop, television, even the complex systems within your car. Now, visualize a scenario where, practically overnight, the supply chain for the essential components powering these devices was abruptly severed. You would be truly astounded to realize just how profoundly the United States depends on South Korea for critical aspects of technology, defense cooperation, and international trade. South Korea stands as one of America's most crucial economic and military allies. It is globally recognized as the leading producer of semiconductors, particularly memory chips, with corporate giants like Samsung and SK Hynix dominating the market. These companies supply the essential microchips that power a vast range of products, from everyday iPhones and consumer electronics to complex military satellites and advanced computing systems. Without a steady supply of these South Korean chips, U.S. industries would face an immediate and crippling halt. Production lines for countless electronic goods would grind to a standstill. The resulting ripple effect would be devastatingly widespread, leading to slower innovation across the tech sector, skyrocketing prices for electronic goods due to scarcity, and a significantly weakened overall U.S. technology industry. And the reliance isn't limited to technology alone. South Korea plays a massive and integral role in U.S. trade networks. It consistently ranks among America's top trading partners, exporting over $100 billion worth of goods annually to the U.S. market. Major South Korean automotive giants, such as Hyundai and Kia, manufacture millions of vehicles specifically for American consumers, contributing significantly to the choices available and influencing market prices. Furthermore, South Korean steel is a vital component used extensively in American construction and infrastructure projects. If South Korean exports were to suddenly cease, the impact would be felt across multiple sectors. Prices for electronics, automobiles, and potentially even construction materials could spike dramatically, affecting consumers and businesses alike. But here's where the situation becomes even more strategically critical. Defense. The United States maintains a significant military presence in South Korea, with nearly 30,000 troops stationed there. This deployment serves as a crucial strategic counterweight to North Korea's unpredictable regime and China's growing regional influence. The alliance between the U.S. and South Korea is fundamental to maintaining security and stability on the Korean Peninsula and in the broader Indo-Pacific region. This partnership involves extensive joint military exercises, intelligence sharing, and coordinated defense planning. If South Korea were to weaken its ties with the US, or if the alliance structure were compromised, it wouldn't just affect one nation. It could potentially trigger a major security crisis across the entire region. The delicate balance of power that deters conflict could be upset, increasing risks for the US and its allies. So, what would realistically happen if South Korea and the United States ceased their close cooperation? The economic shockwaves would be immense, disrupting technology supply chains, automotive markets, and construction industries. However, the security risks stemming from such a breakdown could be even more severe, potentially destabilizing a volatile region and undermining decades of strategic planning. Without South Korea as a steadfast ally, America would lose one of its most critical footholds in Asia, impacting its ability to project power and maintain regional stability. This partnership is a cornerstone of both economic prosperity and international security and a vital part of the world. What if a single, relatively small island held the ultimate key to America's entire technological future and its standing in the global technological race? Imagine the chips that power your computers, phones, servers, and advanced artificial intelligence systems suddenly becoming unavailable. You would be utterly shocked to learn that without Taiwan, the United States would face an unprecedented technological and economic crisis of staggering proportions. Taiwan is the undisputed global epicenter of advanced semiconductor manufacturing. Taiwanese companies, most notably the behemoth TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, produce the vast majority of the world's most sophisticated microchips. TSMC alone accounts for nearly 60% of the global market share for contract chip manufacturing and, crucially, produces over 90% of the most cutting-edge chips, those used in high-performance computing, AI, smartphones, and critical defense applications. Virtually every major technology company on the planet, from American giants like Apple, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and AMD, to international players, relies heavily, often exclusively, on Taiwanese foundries like TSMC to produce their most advanced processors and components. These factories are the bedrock of the modern digital world. If this supply chain were disrupted, perhaps due to political instability, natural disaster, or conflict, the impact would be immediate and globally catastrophic, far exceeding the consequences of a typical stock market crash. Production of phones, computers, servers, military systems, and even modern cars would grind to a halt worldwide. The complex web of global technology relies almost entirely on this geographically concentrated manufacturing hub. Essential devices would become scarce, and prices for any available electronics would skyrocket to unimaginable levels, crippling businesses and consumers alike. And the critical issue isn't just about commercial technology. It involves national security. Taiwan is also a major trading partner with the United States, exporting goods worth approximately $70 billion annually. While significant, this figure pales in comparison to the strategic importance of its semiconductor dominance. However, here lies the most pressing geopolitical issue. Taiwan exists in one of the most precarious and potentially explosive geopolitical situations on Earth. Mainland China considers Taiwan a renegade province and has repeatedly stated its intention to achieve reunification, by force if necessary. China has made it unequivocally clear that it seeks control over Taiwan, and its military posturing in the region continues to escalate tensions. The United States maintains a policy of strategic ambiguity, but provides Taiwan with defense capabilities and implicitly signals its commitment to the island's security. If tensions were to boil over into open conflict, the U.S. could be drawn into a major war with China, a scenario with potentially devastating global consequences. If Taiwan were to fall under Chinese control, the ramifications would extend far beyond the island itself. It would represent a monumental strategic loss for the United States and its allies. Global stability would be profoundly shaken. Intricate global supply chains for essential technologies would be irrevocably disrupted, and China would gain an immense strategic and technological advantage, potentially shifting the global balance of power for generations. So, what would truly happen if Taiwan ceased to be a reliable partner or fell under adversarial control? The global tech industry as we know it would likely collapse. Global security, particularly in the Indo-Pacific, would be severely threatened, potentially leading to wider conflict. The United States would face arguably one of the most significant economic and strategic crises in modern history, challenging its technological leadership and its role as a global power. The fate of this small island is inextricably linked to the future of global technology and international stability. Consider the last instance you interacted with customer support for a major company, collaborated with a remote software development team, or even utilized prescription medication. There's a remarkably high probability that India played a significant role in one, if not all, of those interactions. You might be genuinely surprised to discover the profound and multifaceted ways in which India is deeply interwoven with the fabric of the U.S. economy and its global operations. If this critical connection were ever severed, the resulting consequences for the United States would be far-reaching and profoundly disruptive across multiple sectors. India stands as a global colossus in the information technology services sector. It provides indispensable tech support, sophisticated software development, complex engineering solutions, and back-office processing for countless U.S. corporations. Major American technology giants like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, IBM, and countless others rely heavily on India's vast pool of skilled and cost-effective talent to maintain their operations, innovate, and serve their global customer base. India's massive $150 billion IT outsourcing industry is the backbone for many American businesses, enabling them to operate efficiently and competitively. If this vital artery of technical support and development were suddenly cut off, the U.S. tech industry would face massive operational disruptions, project delays, and significantly increased labor costs, potentially stifling innovation and growth. But the relationship extends significantly beyond IT services. You might be unaware that India is also a pharmaceutical powerhouse. It ranks as one of the world's largest producers of generic drugs, supplying an estimated 40% of the generic medications consumed in the United States. This includes essential treatments for a wide range of conditions. Without this reliable and affordable supply of pharmaceuticals from India, medicine prices in the U.S. could skyrocket, making healthcare less accessible. Hospitals and pharmacies would struggle to meet patient demand for numerous essential drugs, potentially creating a public health crisis. And here's something many people might overlook: the sheer scale of trade. U.S.-India bilateral trade surpassed an impressive $190 billion in the year 2023. This robust exchange encompasses a diverse range of goods. From textiles and precious gems to machinery and petroleum products, India provides essential goods that fuel American businesses and meet consumer needs. India imports significant amounts of American goods as well, including advanced aircraft, industrial equipment, and agricultural products. This balanced trade relationship supports jobs and economic activity in both nations. A disruption in this trade flow would negatively impact various American industries and potentially lead to higher prices for consumers. Furthermore, India's strategic importance cannot be overstated. The United States increasingly views India as a crucial strategic ally, particularly as a counterbalance to China's expanding influence in the Indo-Pacific region. Both nations participate in the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, Quad, alongside Japan and Australia, focusing on regional security and economic cooperation. The U.S. relies on India's growing military capabilities and its strategic location to help maintain stability and freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean region. If this strategic partnership were to weaken or dissolve, the U.S. would face significant challenges in managing regional security dynamics and countering potential threats in Asia. So, what are the real implications if this vital partnership falters? The U.S. could experience severe tech industry slowdowns, a critical pharmaceutical supply crisis, a significant disruption in bilateral trade impacting various sectors, and a weakening of its strategic posture in Asia. The world's two largest democracies have forged an economic and strategic partnership that has become increasingly vital. Losing India's support and collaboration would undoubtedly be a significant setback, potentially bordering on disastrous, for America's economic future and its strategic objectives on the global stage. Think the United States stands entirely self-sufficient, independent of old alliances? Reconsider that notion. You might be surprised by the depth of the connection. The United Kingdom has remained one of America's most steadfast and intimate allies for centuries, a relationship forged through shared history, common values, and tightly interwoven strategic interests. Without the UK, the United States would confront substantial economic repercussions, military vulnerabilities, and significant political fallout on the global stage. To begin with, the economic ties are incredibly deep. US-UK trade in goods and services is immense, consistently valued at over $260 billion annually. This makes the United Kingdom one of America's most significant trading partners worldwide. This trade isn't just about volume. It involves high-value sectors crucial to both economies. From financial services centered in London and New York, to advanced aerospace technology and pharmaceuticals, British companies like Rolls-Royce in aerospace and BP in energy play substantial roles within key U.S. industries. Similarly, American companies have massive investments in the UK. If this deeply integrated economic partnership were to collapse, perhaps due to political divergence or unforeseen crises, the ripple effects would be felt instantly and acutely. Stock markets in both London and New York would likely react negatively. Oil prices could become more volatile due to the influence of UK-based energy giants, and even the airline industry, heavily reliant on transatlantic routes and aerospace components, would experience significant turbulence. Major job losses could occur in sectors heavily reliant on this bilateral trade and investment. Let's delve into the military and intelligence dimension. The UK is arguably America's most important defense and intelligence partner. Both nations form the core of the Five Eyes intelligence sharing alliance, along with Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, providing a critical network for global surveillance and counter-terrorism efforts. They cooperate intimately on nuclear technology development and deterrence strategies. Furthermore, the two countries conduct extensive joint military operations worldwide, often deploying forces side by side in conflict zones and peacekeeping missions. The interoperability between US and UK forces is exceptionally high. If this special relationship in defense and intelligence were to disappear, America's global military reach and intelligence gathering capabilities would be significantly weakened. Its ability to project power and respond to international crises would be diminished, potentially creating power vacuums that adversaries could exploit. And here's an aspect many people don't fully consider: financial stability. London stands as the second largest financial center globally, surpassed only by New York. The economic ties between Wall Street and the City of London are profound, influencing global capital flows, investment trends, and overall financial market stability. The health of the UK economy directly impacts the US financial system, and vice versa. If the UK economy were to suffer a severe hit, or if regulatory alignment diverged significantly, the US would feel the impact almost instantaneously through volatile markets and potential investment shocks. So, what would be the outcome if the US were to lose the United Kingdom as its closest partner? The scenario points towards potential chaos: severe trade disruptions impacting key industries, heightened military vulnerabilities, weakening global posture, and increased economic instability affecting financial markets. This historic alliance represents far more than just trade statistics or defense agreements. It's a fundamental pillar supporting America's global influence and security architecture. Without the UK, America would lose a crucial element of its international standing, potentially leading to a significant decline in its global dominance. So there you have it. The intricate tapestry of global interdependence reveals that the United States, despite its immense power, does not stand alone. Without the contributions of these 10 nations, and indeed many others, the US would not be the global superpower it is recognized as today. The connections run deep, forming the very foundation of American economic prosperity, technological innovation, and national security. Whether we are discussing the advanced technologies sourced from South Korea and Taiwan, the vital energy supplies flowing from Saudi Arabia and Canada, the manufacturing might of China and Mexico, or the deep strategic and economic alliances with the UK, Germany, Japan, and India, America's reliance on these partnerships is undeniable and profound. If just one of these critical relationships were to sever or collapse, the resulting ripple effects would be potentially devastating, cascading through the U.S. economy, weakening its military posture, and potentially triggering widespread instability. The consequences could range from soaring consumer prices and massive job losses to critical shortages of essential goods and heightened geopolitical risks. We hope this exploration has shed light on the complex realities of global interconnectedness and the specific vulnerabilities inherent in America's position. Now, we truly want to hear your perspective. Which of these 10 countries do you believe holds the most critical importance for America's future? Were there any nations on this list whose significance surprised you? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments section below. Engaging in this discussion helps us all better understand the complex world we live in. And before you leave, please remember to hit that like button. If you found this analysis valuable, share it with others who might be interested, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the forces shaping our global economy and political landscape. Your engagement and support are what enable us to continue producing thought-provoking content like this. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.